This is CBN NewsWatch.
And it is Monday, October 19th. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, new information about the global virus outbreak as COVID-19 cases hit a milestone. And reaching more voters, the final push for the presidency. We're going to take a look. Also, why a fight over territory is leaving hundreds dead. And a call to action, how one organization is stepping up to help children in foster care. All those stories and more are ahead in today's edition of CBN Newswatch. I want to begin this half hour with the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 across the planet climbing now to more than 40 million. Johns Hopkins University says the milestone was passed early Monday. The actual worldwide figure of COVID-19 cases is likely to be higher because testing has been an issue and many people have had no symptoms, and some governments have concealed the true number of cases. The United States, Brazil, and India report the highest number of cases. Both President Donald Trump and presidential nominee Joe Biden spent the weekend rallying voters in battleground states. President Trump made stops in Wisconsin, Nevada, and Michigan. Meanwhile, Vice President Biden spoke with voters in North Carolina. Both men addressed the coronavirus and their differing views.
He'll listen to the scientists. If I listened totally to the scientists, we would right now have a country that would be in a massive depression instead of we're like a rocket ship.
Things are getting worse. He continues to lie to us about the circumstances. Experts say we're likely to lose as many as 200,000 additional lives nationwide between now and the end of the year. All because this president cares more about his Park Avenue perspective on the world, the stock market, than he does about you.
The latest ABC News Washington Post poll shows Biden up by 12 points in the race. That is the same lead Hillary Clinton had this time 4 years ago. This week, plans for the next presidential debate are still underway. The second one was supposed to be last week, but neither the Biden campaign nor that of the presidents could agree on how to do it and when to do it. Instead, President Trump and Democratic nominee Joe Biden were at two different town halls on two different networks at the same time. When it came to declaring whether the president was against white supremacists, the viral moment happened.
Point blank to denounce white supremacy. In the moment, you didn't. You asked some follow-up questions. Who specifically? A couple of days later, on a different show, you denounced white supremacy.
No,
my question to you is,
you've done this to me and everybody.
Why does it seem like
I denounce white supremacy? Okay,
you did 2 days later.
I've denounced white supremacy for years, but you always do it. You always start off with a question. You didn't ask Joe Biden whether or not he denounces Antifa. I watched him on the same basic show with Lester Holt, and he was asking questions like Biden was a child.
Well, so this is a little bit of a dodge.
Are you listening? I denounce white supremacy.
Okay.
What's your next question?
Do you feel, it feels sometimes you're hesitant to do so, like you wait a beat.
Here we go again. Every time, in fact, my people came, I'm sure they'll ask you the white supremacy question. I denounce white supremacy.
Okay.
Joining us now to discuss this moment and what else could be discussed during this week's debate is Tragon Phillips of FaithWire.com. So let's begin. You wrote on FaithWire that Trump answered the question, but Savannah Guthrie accused him of dodging it. What do you make of the moment?
So over the course of President Donald Trump's public life, well before he was president, he's denounced white supremacy some 15 to 20 times. Like I said, not counting those 3 times in less than a minute that he answered the question. And I think some of the frustration that we can hear in the president's voice goes back to the fact that he's asked that question repeatedly, and it's not a standard that the Democratic Party is also held to. So I think there's some frustration because it seems to presuppose racism in asking that question, particularly since he has denounced it so frequently. And I don't know of a president who every single time anything bad happens, they have to step up and denounce it. I mean, we know that there are white supremacists in this country. We know that that's evil. And as Christians, we know it's antithetical to our faith. And it should be denounced. But to have to answer that same exact question ad nauseum, I think is something that's frustrating to the president.
Do you think the media is treating the president and Joe Biden the same?
I think there's certainly some disparities in the way that they're treated, not even regarding the white supremacy question. I think the president is often asked combative questions about any number of topics, whereas candidate Joe Biden, former Vice President Biden at this point, seems to be handled with kid gloves often. He calls a lid on his campaign for the day frequently, particularly when it's leading up to a debate, doesn't take questions, takes just a few softball questions here and there, or gets frustrated, which, as we all know, President Trump also gets frustrated with the press. But Biden has frequently talked about how Trump's handling of the press is so dangerous. So when he gets frustrated with the press, with the difficult questions he gets here and there, it's a little bit hypocritical.
Now, Savannah Guthrie is a longtime journalist with NBC News, of course. Should the Trump campaign be concerned that an NBC journalist is hosting the next debate? Will there be bias against the president? Should they be concerned?
I think that at this point it's kind of baked into the cake. I think it's something that's expected, whether it's Chris Wallace with Fox News or someone with NBC or Susan Page with USA Today. I think it's just something that the president has to anticipate. We go into it obviously hoping that there's fairness and equality between the candidates and the way that they're treated. But history shows that the current president is often handled a little bit more harshly and held to a bit of a different standard than Vice President Biden.
All right, Trey Goins-Phillips with FaithWire.com. Thank you so much for your time. I want to remind you at home, you can always catch FaithWire's weekly program this evening at 9:30 Eastern. Of course, you can find that on the CBN News Channel. One national security expert is sounding the alarm about a growing threat to our country. CBN national security correspondent Eric Phillips explains.
Bradley Bowman leads the Center on Military and Political Power at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. He tells me how in the past, political division in the U.S. carried little to no consequence to national security. But that time is not now.
This is scary what we're doing right now. By our own divisiveness, we are making ourselves less safe.
Military analyst Brad Bowman believes the current division is unprecedented and the implications stretch well beyond our borders.
Russia has been trying to hurt and divide democracy, American democracy, since the 1920s. So this is not new. What they most want is they want to pit the extremes against each other. So, they want to pit the far right against the far left, and so that we tear each other apart. They want to say that our authoritarian model, their authoritarian model, is better than ours. Look at America. Look at that horrific debate. They can't even talk to each other in a civil way. Look at the riots. Look at the violence. And so we really are playing right into their hands.
Bowman says diversity is America's greatest strength, what he calls its center of gravity. It's why he's critically concerned.
The scary divisions that we're seeing, in my view, along racial lines, economic lines, party lines, to me, our adversaries, particularly Russia and increasingly China, view as an opportunity to attack as our center of gravity of unity. Your political adversary is not your enemy. And if that's the way you think, you're helping Putin more than you're helping our country. And I think you need to hear that directly.
Bradley points to Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election and further alleged interference now in 2020. But he says that's just one example of how the cancer of division spreading in our land leaves us more susceptible to outside influence.
Unify your team, divide the other team, and that's how you win. And gosh darn it, we're dividing our own team right now. We can't be our own worst enemies. We should not do Vladimir Putin's work for him.
Bowman is quick to point out that there is room for robust disagreement within our democracy. He says that's not what weakens us. The problem is when we see fellow Americans as our enemies simply because they have different views. Eric Phillips, CBN News.
Eric, thank you. A woman missing for 12 days in Zion National Park is back with her family today. 38-year-old Holly Courtier disappeared earlier this month. She planned to take a solo hike through the canyon and left her phone behind. The park is known for its massive cliffs and wilderness. Days passed with no signs of Holly until a park visitor spotted her. Park search and rescue crews were able to track her down. Her family is thankful, as you can imagine, to have her back at home. Coming up, huge impacts from a largely unheard of conflict. Just ahead, the land that could become the subject of an all-out war. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. Stay with us.
If you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
This is our nature as a country.
To make the world a better place.
Literally, we felt the earth shaking.
The Christian Broadcasting Network presents To Life, how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
This film needs to be seen by everyone.
I was in tears.
Now you can own the inspiring documentary To Life on DVD.
There is blood on our hands if we know and we walk away.
I'm so grateful that this film was made.
To Life can be yours for a gift of $10 or more. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
We know that every minute counts to save life.
It'll bless Israel, but it'll also bless all the friends of Israel.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are making the world a better place. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com to get your copy today.
Hundreds of people are dead and thousands on the run in a little-known conflict that could have big-time consequences. Armenia and Azerbaijan are fighting over a small piece of territory. So what's happening that could turn this conflict into an all-out war? Why is Turkey fueling the fire? And what about the Christians caught in the crosshairs? Our George Thomas takes a look at all the answers in this exclusive report.
The decades-old conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan over the contested region of Nagorno-Karabakh is threatening to erupt into a wider conflict involving Russia, Turkey, and radical Islamic jihadists. Turkey is reportedly recruiting hundreds of Syrian mercenaries to join Azerbaijan's army in the fight against Armenia. Mr. President, can you confirm these reports, and what are the implications of their involvement?
Well, first of all, I can confirm it's not only confirmation from my side. International organizations and even intelligence departments of different states have confirmed that.
In an exclusive interview with CBN News, Armenia's President Arman Sarkisian accused Turkey and its leader Recep Tayyip Erdogan of being a bully and making the crisis worse. Turkey has deployed drones and reportedly sold more than $123 million worth of military hardware to support Azerbaijan. What are the consequences, Mr. President, of not stopping Turkey's involvement in this conflict?
Well, not stopping Turkey in this conflict, you will get another Syria, but 10 times bigger.
President Sarkisian points to Turkey's ongoing military involvements in Syria, Iraq, Libya and Afghanistan as more proof of Erdogan's expansionist ambitions.
Wherever they go, alone or bringing Islamic militants with them, basically they are there and they are destroying not only people's lives, but also ancient languages. As I said, like in Syria, destroying ancient Christian culture.
On October 7th, days after the conflict erupted, Azerbaijan, backed by Turkey, shelled this historic cathedral where many Armenian families had sought refuge. 3 weeks into the conflict, scores of families continued to pray and find refuge in the partially destroyed church.
God's house was transformed into ruins. They are capable of everything, but God will punish them.
More than 500 people have died and tens of thousands of civilians displaced by the fighting. Sandwiched between Armenia and Azerbaijan, Nagorno-Karabakh's ethnic Armenian population has long wanted to be independent to unite with Armenia. After numerous flare-ups over the region, this latest is the worst in decades. Russia, which backs Armenia but has ties with Azerbaijan, tried to broker a ceasefire last week. That failed. As fighting intensifies, experts worry Russia could be dragged further into the conflict. Russia's foreign ministry making a fresh appeal for peace late Wednesday.
We stand on our position that peaceful solution of the conflict is possible. Moreover, it's the only way to ensure sustainable solution of this problem.
Armenia is one of the world's oldest Christian nations. The majority of those living in the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region are also Christian. That includes Rita Grigorian, who, along with several others, has sheltered in the basement of this apartment building since fighting started. Grigorian lost her husband during the war with Azerbaijan in the 1990s. Her son-in-law and grandson are now on the front lines.
My grandson turned 20 and then the war started. How can we be happy? Where should we run if my relatives are here?
President Sarkisian tells CBN News that Armenia's struggle against what his government has called a Turkish-Azerbaijani terrorist alliance is similar to that of a story in the Bible.
So these brave people are like the story of the David and the Goliath. They are facing an enormous enemy that wants to destroy a whole civilization, a culture, religion, and people.
George Thomas, CBN News.
Still ahead, everyone deserves to be loved, connected, and safe, but not every child is getting that chance. Just ahead, we're going to show you how one organization is stepping up to help those vulnerable children. Stay with us.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy?
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts, in this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network. featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain. Get your free copy at cbn.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. The coronavirus pandemic affects families across the country in a growing number of ways, from job loss to the loss of loved ones. For children in foster care, the issue has created an even greater challenge. As Charlene Aaron shows us, one agency is seeing more families stepping up to meet their needs.
More than 400,000 children make up the foster care system in the United States. Experts say COVID-related family issues are likely to increase that number. But there is good news as more families show an interest in providing homes for kids in need.
Family, those are only wishes I have.
When this video of a 9-year-old Oklahoma boy named Jordan pleading for a family during a local television interview hit the web, the story went viral.
I call mom and dad, or this mom, or this dad. I don't really care.
In just 12 hours, thousands of inquiries poured in to adopt the boy, who had been in foster care for 6 years. The case highlights the crisis of children stuck in the system.
I think it's roughly about 424,000 right about now. And roughly 125,000 of them are available for adoption. So pre-pandemic, we already had close to 500,000 kids in foster care.
Kimberly Offit of Bethany Christian Services says lives are being disrupted, with many seeing a rise in substance abuse, domestic violence, and financial struggles.
Pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, you were already stressing, you were already didn't have the support system that you needed. Now you add the loss of jobs, the loss of income, trying to teach your children at home. It's a lot of stress for our families. So you're seeing that increase in violence and increase in everything now.
That's why Bethany is offering families much needed support, such as meals, transportation, and babysitting, hoping to keep them from putting their children in foster care. Through its Safe Families ministry, volunteers help vulnerable families by temporarily taking in their children while the parents regain stability.
Those families really step in the gap when you have families in crisis. So our goal as an organization is to really keep families intact.
Bethany has also gone virtual to offer information, training, and licensing for those interested in foster care and adoption.
We've seen that a 55% increase in interest in foster care parenting during the pandemic. And that's encouraging because you see communities are responding to the needs of their neighbors. Families who found themselves with more free time, they're able to learn more about foster care and the licensing process, and to be able to do that from the comfort of their home.
Another emerging trend, more single parents getting involved.
A lot of families think, well, if I'm not married, I can't be a foster parent or I can't adopt. And that's not true. We have family, teenagers who may have experienced some really bad trauma, and they may not be comfortable in a two-parent home. So there's a need for single parents to serve our kids as well.
Meanwhile, to raise awareness for foster care and adoption amid the pandemic, Bethany will host a virtual event called Family Changes Everything, featuring Francis Chan, Christian rap artist Lecrae, and others.
You'll hear the message and prayerfully be compelled to move forward and be a foster family, adopt, or support us in our efforts.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Now, that Family Changes Everything virtual event takes place tomorrow. You can get more information at our website at cbnnews.com. Coming up, forced out of the party? See how a clown is using his tricks to raise awareness about the COVID-19 virus. Stay with us.
Having sex before you marry is a bad idea.
Don't tell me there's no such thing as gun violence.
That just depends on your definition of when life begins.
Watch Dan and Dale tackle trending topics that test your faith on the next Faith Wire, Monday night at 9:30. The Global Lane takes you around the world, providing facts over fiction.
What might rising trade and geopolitical tensions mean for you on the home front?
With over 45 years of experience, award-winning journalist Gary Lane brings you the truth from a global angle.
What about the issue of immigration?
World news analysis you won't see anywhere else.
And it's all right here on The Global Lane.
Watch The Global Lane, Thursday night at 9:30.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
As the nations rage, you can stand with Israel.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
Call 1-800-700-7000 and get to life.
This is our nature as a country.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is, this is what I'm doing.
Support Israel in their time of need. Get to Life, now available on DVD. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
And I wish that other people throughout the world could see this side of Israel.
And welcome back. A clown who once performed at birthday parties has reinvented his shows. Jorge Feliz Moreno has worked as a clown for some 30 years in Venezuela, but once the pandemic hit, birthday parties and other family celebrations disappeared. Moreno was forced out of work, but he now rides the bus and performs magic tricks for those on the bus for tips. He also has a serious side and uses his skills as a clown to raise awareness about COVID-19. He gives passengers advice on the need to protect themselves against the virus and asks them to please wear a mask. Well, time now for your Monday motivation, and today I want to leave you with this thought. Persistence, patience, and prayer are 3 keys to open the doors of destiny in your life. Walk in them, because your destiny awaits your arrival. With that word, I encourage you to make today a marvelous Monday, and be sure to have yourself a wonderful week, and do that on purpose. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. I want to remind you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel, and you can find them there at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us at the address right there on your screen, newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.